concerns that I'm expressing are authentic concerns that any country in New Zealand's position would have. And I think what is dangerous is the idea that we are currently talking past each other. Those two ideas, liberal democracy and universal human rights on the one hand, and this idea of a tiriti-centric Aotearoa with tangata whenua and tangata tiriti on the other. Those ideas are incompatible. We have a government that says if you want to be qualified to have a certain position at the table on governing Three Waters or healthcare or some local body functions, that now gives people different political rights, different rights of citizenship, different rights to participate in the political process based on who their ancestors were. Apartheid for me is a system where people have a different set of political rights based on their ancestry. And of course this happened in South Africa to a much more dramatic extent than anything currently proposed in New Zealand, thank God. However, conceptually, the ideas that we now see in New Zealand are no different, in that they say in order to find out what your legal rights are, to participate in different affairs of state, you have to look at your family tree. The conceptual starting point was that people should have a different set of rights based on their background. And we're increasingly seeing that. It's in the Three Waters proposal, it's in healthcare governance, it's in the new resource management reform proposals. If you look at this country today, it is one of the most prosperous societies that's ever existed. And if you look around the world at other societies that are prosperous like New Zealand, you know what you notice? They're all liberal democracies. So something tells me that having liberal democracy is something that allows people to be secure in their property, to upskill themselves, to trade value for value with each other and become wealthier and more prosperous. And then if you look at what the life expectancy was prior to the arrival of these technologies, prior to democracy, prior to the rule of law, prior to written language, do you really think that everything that Europeans have brought to New Zealand is bad? Or would it be more honest to say that there have been good and bad on both sides, and the real question is how we go forward? You tell me how one more kid's going to go to school with a full stomach because somebody that is vaguely distantly related to them gets a seat at the table governing water assets. Hello? What's going to help cure inequities is actually everybody getting a good opportunities to ultimately own their own part of New Zealand and have an opportunity to bring forth their own kids, and so it goes on. I represent an electorate in Epsom that is 17% Chinese, and I have constituents come and say to me, we don't like the healthcare system and the way it works, and we think it discriminates against Chinese people. 99.9% of New Zealanders, if you said, do we want a separate Māori parliament, would say, how on earth that's going to work? Sounds a bit like apartheid to me, no thank you.
Seymour's a disgrace. He uses his Māori whakapapa to weaponise against his own people.
Just a useless Māori, that's all.
I'd just like to let it be known that I consider myself a very useful Māori, and it was very mean of Willie, but there you go, that's his problem, not mine. The views that I expound, which are based on a free society being the best place for people to thrive and prosper over time. Now they may think that you can't be Māori and have those views, or that you're a useless Māori, or you're not an advocate for Māori. I would say to them that their disagreement is not with my Māoriness, their disagreement is with those views. And if they spent more time focusing on why they disagree with the views specifically, instead of trying to attack my identity or whether I'm good or bad, then they might actually learn something. I'm just describing the government's policies. If they think that's dog whistling, they should look closer at the government's policies because they're divisive and dangerous.
ACT is on a mission to abolish Te Puni Kōkiri, the Office of Crown Māori Relations and other agencies.
Māori have solutions? Yeah, they do, and ACT is one of the parties that is at the forefront of empowering people to deliver social services and deliver other solutions their way on their terms, and that's what a libertarian party that believes in a free society where people can self-determine is good for. Actually, it's good for minorities. The only issue is we don't think it's just Māori. There's a lot of minorities in New Zealand, and that includes not only different ethnicities, but kids who are neurodiverse, for example. We should actually create an environment where all can prosper. I believe that people have a right to seek information, to make up their mind on their own terms.
ACT has made a referendum on the treaty a bottom line in coalition negotiations. And there's much talk too of tough on crime.
But if you look at our recidivism rates, if you look at the size of our prison population, if you look at the amount of crime that people are experiencing on the street at the moment, then I think we need to do much better.